We got who inherited Pablo Escobar's drug empire? I don't know. Tell me.
Pablo Escobar, a name that's enough to make anyone shudder. Also, a name that left behind a not-so-desirable legacy. Call him the Medellin drug lord, the cocaine king, the twisted version of Robin Hood, or the mastermind if you must. But remember, you can kill a man, but you can't kill the diseases he already spread: greed and addiction. And that's what keeps his drug empire alive and running even today, 3 decades after his death. The big question is, who inherited Pablo Escobar's drug empire, and how do these drug cartels still operate? Most higher-ups
That's what I want to know.
Partners in Escobar's drug empire were
Everybody knows Pablo Escobar's story.
Some died in prison, while others still live on, leaving their drug lord days behind. Let's look at some of the most prominent members of the cartel, sicarios who worked closely with Pablo Escobar and his family, to find out who runs Medellin if the cartel is in fact still alive, because you better believe it still is. Sicarios. Juan Diego Arquila Henya, aka El Tomate. Juan,
the tomato,
Tomate, was one of Escobar's closest allies. He was arrested in 1992 and spent 14 years in jail before he escaped to Venezuela right after his release in 2006.
Or that doesn't mean tomato, does it?
2007, he was shot dead in his car. John Jairo Velázquez, aka Popeye or JJ. Another important man in the Medellin cartel and Colombian hitman, John Jairo Velázquez, was arrested in 1992 and was released in 2014. He had confessed to several kidnappings, including prominent political personalities in Colombia. He had also confessed to killing 257 people and arranging 3,000 killings. He was arrested again in 2018 for extortion charges and died in prison in 2020. Dandeni Munoz Mosquera, aka La Kika. Dandeni Munoz Mosquera was another important member of the Medellin cartel. He was known as the chief assassin, and he had killed hundreds of people, including 40
hundreds?
And many government officials. He was arrested in 1991 and is currently serving multiple consecutive life sentences in a prison in the United States of America. Safe to say, none of these sicarios are in control of the cartel. So what about allies and business partners? Let's begin with Carlos Leder. Carlos Enrique Leder Rivas was the co-founder of the Medellin cartel alongside Escobar. Leder was also one of the founding members of Muerte a Secuestradores, which was a paramilitary group that focused on rebellion against the abduction of cartel members and their families by the guerrillas. Before getting into the cocaine business, Leder sold stolen cars and marijuana. According to a theory supported by Escobar's head assassin, Popeye, members of the Medellin cartel wanted Leder out of the drug business due to his radical, military-like behavior. They thought it would eventually jeopardize their cocaine trade. This led to Escobar providing the police with Leder's whereabouts, leading to his capture.
We've got a whole swastika tattooed on him.
Cartel leader to be captured and extradited to the United States. He was captured in Colombia in 1987 and extradited to the US to serve a life sentence, in addition to 135 years in jail. The sentence was reduced to a total of 33 years after he agreed to cooperate with the authorities, and he's now out of prison, living in Germany. According to Leder's daughter, Monica, he had been diagnosed with cancer and would be taken care of by a German charity. Jose Gonzalo Rodriguez Gacha, aka El Mexicano. Rodriguez moved to Medellin and formed an alliance with the Ochoa family, Pablo Escobar, and Carlos Leder to start the Medellin cartel. During the late 1970s, Rodriguez advanced in the hierarchy and discovered new trafficking routes through Mexico and into the United States, mainly Los Angeles, California, and Houston, Texas. El Mexicano was charged in Colombia and the United States for his involvement in a number of killings that included the assassination of the president.
See, they all got caught for murder and not coke. A bunch of them got caught for murder and not
Rodriguez
coke.
started massacring 12 judicial officials to allegedly remove their drug business details from the judicial files. Escobar and Rodriguez contracted trained hitmen by J.R. Klein for the assassination of presidential candidate Luis Carlos Calan on August 18, 1989. He was considered likely to be elected Colombia's next president. After this, Rodriguez began playing a less active role in the terrorist attacks of the Medellin cartel. The government was out to track the drug lords and their cartel and made several attempts to find him throughout 1989. Rodriguez was gunned down while escaping the police after a long chase in the same year. The Ochoa brothers, Jorge, Juan, and Fabio Ochoa. In September 1990, Colombian President Cesar Gaviria Trujillo thought that if a reduced sentence was offered to drug traffickers, they might surrender. The plan worked, and Jorge Luis Ochoa Vasquez surrendered to Colombian police in January of 1991. However, in July of 1996, Jorge Luis was released by decree after serving a mere 5.5 years in prison. He currently lives in Medellin, but says that he has nothing to do with drugs anymore. He repents that he ever had anything to do with this business. With all of that said, the damage is already done. It's also alleged that Jorge was able to keep a lot of his money with him. Elder brother of Jorge, Juan David Ochoa Vasquez, also turned himself in with his brother Jorge in 1991. And just like Jorge, he too received a short sentence of just 5 years.
So no one's doing shit recent, or are we getting into that?
Died of a heart attack in July 2013. Fabio Ochoa Vasquez is the youngest of the 3 brothers. He
They all just got
turned
old and
himself in
died?
like his brothers, but fate wasn't on his side. Unlike his older brothers, Juan
This
and
isn't
Jorge,
telling me who
Fabio
inherited
couldn't give up the drug
drug
trafficking
empire.
and continued to provide knowledge to the drug trafficking networks. He also continued to take payments for shipping cocaine.
Okay, now
He was
we're getting
arrested
into
again
it.
in 1999. He was then extradited to the United States in September of 2001 and was sentenced to 30
Never
years
mind.
in prison in 2003 for drug trafficking and distribution of cocaine in the US. Family members. Surely, if his sicarios and former business partners didn't take over the drug trade from Medellin, then his family members did, no? Let's find out. Roberto de Jesus Escobar Gaviria, aka El Osito. Escobar's brother Roberto not only co-founded the Medellin cartel, but also managed the finances and accounts for the cartel. He served a jail time of 13 years from 1993 to 2006. While it seems like he left the drug trade life
was a
behind
big
after his
bounty.
release, Roberto Escobar
That was
is
a
involved
big
in
bounty.
many fraudulent acts to date. In 2014, Roberto reincorporated Escobar Inc. and registered successor and interest rights for his brother in California, United States. Escobar Inc. is a registered company in Puerto Rico and is involved in various scams. The company makes
Scams.
Escobar-branded smartphones and flamethrowers, and people buy them too. The only thing is that these products never reach the customer. Looks like Roberto changed his field of work, but he never changed his scammy, or rather scummy, intentions. Maria Victoria Henao Vallejo.
Mister, de todas maneras, cuídense mucho. Usted sabe que todos lo necesitamos.
Esté tranquilita, mi amor. Usted sabe que yo luché por ustedes. Yo no tengo otro incentivo en la vida sino luchar por ustedes. Y yo estoy
I'm in a cave. This is the safest place.
Yo estoy
We're getting past the hardest part.
Maria Victoria Henao Vallejo married Escobar in 1976, when he was 26 and she was only 15. The pair had
Hey,
2
yo!
children, Pablo and Manuela. Pablo Escobar had many mistresses.
Hey,
and he was constantly
yo!
involved in affairs. Despite his infidelity and constant affairs, he stayed married to Maria until he died. Maria claims to have privately
Y'all ain't
enjoyed
old
the
enough for
luxurious
that.
lifestyle that came with Escobar's drug empire. She claims that initially, she had no idea that he was the leader of the Medellin cartel. When she got to know about his drug business, she didn't support or encourage him, but was deeply pained instead. After Escobar's death, Maria and their 2 children, Juan Pablo and Manuela, fled the country. They tried to seek refuge in Germany and Mozambique, but were denied, and so they finally settled in Buenos Aires, Argentina. In 1999, Maria and her son Juan Pablo were arrested on suspicion of money laundering
Damn.
and were imprisoned. The authorities
So
couldn't
everybody
find their
just went to
involvement in
jail or
Escobar's
died?
work or crimes, and so they were released after 18 months.
Who got the
In a
money,
2018
motherfucker?
interview with Colombia's W Radio, Maria Victoria Henao Vallejo publicly apologized for her late husband's wrongdoings. None of Escobar's 2 children chose the path he did. They went on to lead normal lives. His widow, Maria, wrote a book called Mrs. Escobar, My Life with Pablo. His son, Juan Pablo, changed his name to Sebastián Marroquín and released a book titled Pablo Escobar, My Father, in 2014. In the book, he describes how the infamous drug lord was a ruthless criminal, but a loving father at the same time. There's not much known about his other siblings, Luis Fernando Escobar Gaviria, Alba Escobar Gaviria, Gloria Inés Escobar Gaviria, Argemiro Escobar Gaviria, and Luz Maria Escobar. As you can see, the Medellin cartel slowly broke down after Pablo Escobar's death in 1993. Other cartels like the Cali cartel and the Norte de Valle cartel rose to take over the infamous drug trade in Colombia.
They had to
None
have-
could reach the
they
heights
had
that
to
Pablo
have hidden
Escobar
some
did,
money.
and his family
definitely
want nothing
hid
to
some
do with
money.
a business that brought as much pain as it
They
did
ain't living
wealth.
that
But then
nice.
the drug trade stopped.
they would have hidden
Things
some
changed
money.
for the better, or
They're
did
like,
they take
yeah.
an even darker tone. The new
He only
boys.
had like
La
100
Oficina
mil.
de
He was
Envigado.
a brokey.
La Oficina de Envigado was founded as a collections arm of Escobar's Medellin cartel. The cartel is still in operation, but now it mainly focuses on providing services to low-level drug traffickers and groups. It operates in the cities of Medellin and Envigado and positions itself as the chief mediator and debt collector in any disputes related to drug trafficking in Colombia. La Oficina de Envigado still maintains a strong connection with the Colombian government. While on the outside, this may seem like the drug trade has reduced, that's not the truth. Narco trafficking hasn't gone down, but just has become more stealthy and less violent than it was during Escobar's reign as a drug king. We're taking down cartels, and another cartel is born. And what we tell people is, as long as there's demand for this nasty type of drugs that are out there, there's going to be people that are going to take a chance in sending their dope to make a quick dollar. Javier Peña,
Yep.
a U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration agent
Facts.
who worked on both the Escobar and the Cali cartel cases, said on the Cypher Brief podcast, "The drug traffickers have not stopped. They probably never will. They've simply adapted their operations to the current times, making the
And
trade
they
even more
continuously
difficult to
will,
crack,
forever.
unintended. They don't have large, easy-to-track labs anymore. They operate from home kitchens in Medellin. These are the new, smaller labs dotted across Colombia in residential properties that one can't even lay a speck of doubt on. They also operate from mangroves in small Colombian ports, where some of the darkest secrets of the narco trade are well kept.
Imagine you're just fucking walking around in the
city of
Colombian
Tumaco
jungle and
that sits
stumble
by the
upon this
Pacific
shit.
Ocean. Hidden from
Oh,
everyone's eyes and
you're dead.
even from the satellites, something is being built inside these mangroves. A stealthy and dark secret that only the trusted few have access to. The semi-submersible cocaine submarines. The drug cartels that still operate and the gangs that succeeded Pablo Escobar in the drug business chose these mangroves for the construction of these million-dollar cocaine submarines. This is not only because the mangroves provide secrecy from the public or legal eye, but also because they're in close proximity to the cocaine cooking labs. They're also connected to various points in the Pacific Ocean, which makes it easy to smuggle cocaine. Each submarine takes about 4 months to build, and since these subs are meant to carry cocaine, they're watched over by around 50 men who are armed with AK-47s and Israeli Galil assault rifles. This is to protect the cocaine-carrying submarine if they're ever busted. And if these submarines are ever found out by the authorities out in the sea, they're designed to sink to destroy any evidence of the cartel. This is the level of detail these submarines are built with. There's no way to ever be seized. From home kitchens and forests to the waters, drug lords will take any route to seal the deal. What's really at stake here? The millions and billions of dollars or the millions of young lives that are destroyed by drug addiction? Where does it end? As long as there will be demand for drugs, there will be someone out there ready to rake in the millions. Pablo Escobar's Medellin cartel drug empire was just a catalyst, helping feed the real devil within. Following the fall of the Medellin cartel, there were others, and then there were some more. There will always be more. Name the devil Pablo Escobar if you must, but when you drop the mask, all you'll see is addiction. If you'd like to delve into the details of the underworld and dark mysteries, then click on one of the video cards on your screen to watch more.
Life can be great.
Hell, there's no video card on my screen.
So open your eyes to life, to see it in the vivid colors that God gave us as a precious gift to his children.
Fuck you. Fuck off. Smoke my dope when I want to. It's like Arnold.